The Outer Worlds 2 is finally out, and alongside that comes a Day 1 patch. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Xbox Game Studios, it is available today for everyone. It was previously available on the 24th through Early Access, which came in at a pretty hefty price of $89.99, and to buy the Standard Edition it is $59.99. But if you've got Game Pass, this is available today to play for all, alongside that big Day 1 patch. Now that Day 1 patch actually went out yesterday on the 28th of October, and it's got some pretty cool stuff in there. Now I wanted to wait to do the video because I also want to see how the game is being reviewed by others. So far I am actually enjoying it. I'm finding it quite enjoyable. The combat is better, there's a lot more options as there was in Outer Worlds 1, which I thought was a good game, just was very short, and once you got into the bones of it, there wasn't much more to discover. And so far with this, there's a decent amount of stuff that I'm still figuring out and enjoying. We're going to have a full review coming out over the next couple of days, alongside tips, tricks, and all of that good stuff. So if you are a fan of the Outer Worlds, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and stick around for much more Outer Worlds content. Now the game is currently sitting at 85% of the 1,456 reviews being positive, which, great news. And it seems like quite a few of the negative ones are about bugs and issues in the game, which, well, yeah, unfortunately, it is a shame that developers still release games these days and do find it acceptable to have a lot of bugs in there, especially when they're coming with a AAA price tag. At the price tag of 90 quid, you do expect a game to work flawlessly. When you're paying 15, 20 quid for an early access title, you kind of expect some of those annoyances and little bits of just those little issues, you know, which you can still play the game, but they are annoying, they halt progress a little bit. Whereas when it comes in at a £90 price tag or a 60 quid price tag, then yeah, you've got to have a pretty solid game. Now, a lot of the other comments are as well the price tag, which I do agree is, I thought it was going to be more expensive, I will be honest, coming in at the 60 quid instead of the 70, but I think that might be to do with the fact that it's on Game Pass. So with a lot of people having it on Game Pass anyway, there might not be that many people still wanting to purchase it. It is obviously available on PlayStation as well for the same price. Now the Day 1 hotfix, there's a decent amount of critical, quest and UI, as well as audio and progression and crash fixes in this one. Nothing too major, there's not a whole load of stuff. I was expecting a bigger list. Now, unfortunately for people that have bought the game today on the 29th and started playing today, these won't have fixed any issues. So hopefully they do release another patch within the next sort of 24 to 48 hours to address any of those concerns that have popped up since the actual launch on the 29th. Now, the critical fixes are for Premium Edition owners on the PS5, and they now grant you the certain packs that you are actually buying. Permanent fade to black when returning to the landing pad will no longer occur. Saving and loading whilst using the dematerializer will no longer prevent the player from equipping. Inez is no longer absent, and sometimes from the Frere field after she returns from the Ministry of Accuracy. This fix only applies to new saves. So if you did have that bug, you will have to go back and restart. Now for quest and story, you can think properly progresses. Bacons have been added to the optional objective for a quest, Crash Course in Telemetry. Improved player guidance for progressing the Monastery and Golden Ridge. And there is now more guidance on how to recruit Inez if the player previously missed her. And there are a few spoilers in that one as well, so I won't go over any of the spoiler fixes. Now, motion blur, prompts clearly indicating, subtle font settings are now correctly applied, no more placeholder texts, player status bar is always set to off, and other icons will now activate properly when engaging on your player ship and throughout the world itself. Now, for audio, there's been a couple of audio fixes there, which nothing too major. Unless you're focused on the radio and stuff, then you probably wouldn't have noticed these in the first place. But radio content repeating too frequently, the radio emitter is misplaced on the ground after Paradise Island. Now for the crashes and critical issues, the game will no longer crash when interrupting certain NPC bark dialogue lines, by interacting with or killing with a participating speaker. Remove the potential for picking up specific grenades that trigger a crash. You no longer fall through the world when loading a save that was made inside a certain tunnel or vent area whilst crouching. You won't fall through the world. Using the kill switch in the Auntie Cleo's Choice headquarters no longer gets the player camera stuck. Resolved unique edge case that prevented a player from using the console on the Sovereign's ship, and removed collision that blocked players' access to crouch and tunnels. NPCs in the Auntie's Choice headquarters spawn in a hostile state more consistently for players that have triggered that outcome, and VIP lift at Rift Labs will now unlock accessible floors and addressed an issue where the enemy was locked in a closet, preventing combat completion, which is fucking annoying. Hate it when that happens in any game, and the developers that let that slide, you need to be flogged. Tomatoes and something need to be thrown at you. If it's been known about and not caught, it is. I think that's the worst one, because you spend the next 4 hours trying to beat a cupboard door up to get the dude that's in there, and it's just a day wasted, and you have to restart everything anyway. Now, I was rambling. I do apologise, but it is one of the most annoying bugs. Now, decent amount of stuff in there, but like I say, hopefully they do come up with something within the next few days, at least a bare minimum within the next week, to address any issues that are out there, because the price tag is pretty hefty. I think overall, though, so far, enjoyable experience. I've not come across any bugs yet. It took a little bit of getting used to. I had played the Outer Worlds 1 a couple of days ago. I fired up the old Xbox and sat on that for an hour or so just to get in there, get used to it, and it's similar controls. If you enjoyed the first one, then you'll enjoy this one. At the moment, I wouldn't say it's anything incredible or groundbreaking, but it is an enjoyable game. I think a slightly lower price tag would have been a bit better, but we'll have to wait and see. Like I say, full review will be in a couple of days' time. So for today, that is all from me. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. If you have, thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and stick around for much more Outer Worlds 2 content, and let me know if there's anything specific you want to see. I've been Cowboy, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.